Hello everyone, welcome to today's video on the important articles from the Hindu, December 13th. Let's see the first article. RBI and PM signal reforms in troubled urban cooperative banks. Cooperative banks is an important topic from prelims perspective. Even in 21 prelims, we have seen one question that was asked on the cooperative banks and its management. And here from this article, try to understand the role of RBI in management of cooperative banks or supervising cooperative banks and what is the idea to reform the urban cooperative banks. That's all from this page. In this page, this first article, evolution and framing of constitution is not very important. The things that are discussed in this article are part of our standard books, that is Lakshmikant. No need to go through that. But the second news article, the stepping stones in the post-pandemic world, is important. There are different things that are discussed here where we have to focus after post-pandemic. What are the areas that have to be focused? And what is the role that India can play in the post-pandemic world to enhance its influence in the world? So important, you can go through this. Then this is the article on the Julian Assange and recent extradition efforts by USA, etc. So you can go through this to understand what happened to this Julian Assange and his role in WikiLeaks, etc. So you can read. Then moving on to the next editorial, freedom and power. This is about democracy and the principles of democracy, etc. Important. You can go through this. Focus on some words like quality of our democracy, arbitrary place restrictions. This you can use in your answers. And you can see the role of big data, big tech companies, and the phenomenon of digital authoritarianism. So focus on these things. That's all from this page. In this page, the better part of valor. This is about CDS Bipin Rawat's untimely death and the role of pilots in these accidents. So not very important, but maybe if you have time, just go through this. Then flawed Islamic democracy of Pakistan. This is also some aspects you have to understand from this article to contrast India's democracy with Pakistan democracy and how Pakistan democracy has failed. So it is called as a failed state or a failed nation. So because of its failures from the perspective of democracy, how the blasphemy laws are being used in Pakistan to target innocents, etc., is was discussed in this article. You can go through this ones. Will help you write in essays related to democracy. Then the dream of being a chip hub, important from economy industry perspective, how to bring manufacturing, etc., was discussed here. Important. Go through this ones. That's all from this page. In this page, this article, Manipur and Assam wanted to retain Armed Forces Special Powers Act. So go through this article and understand the reasons for continuation of AFSPA, and there are some states which are asking for repealing this act. So understand the demands from both the sides, which are helpful from paper to mains perspective. The other article from this page is Supreme Court has taken note of Section 124A misuse. This is also important. Presently, there is a different arguments that are going in relation to Section 124, that is a Sedition Act. So from that context, you can read and understand the issue. That's all from this page. In this page, important news article, S-400 is a symbol of Indian sovereignty, Russian diplomat. So understand what sovereignty means, what is S-400, read about these things, and go through this article once, important. When Varun Gandhi comes up with bill for MSP, so understand what is MSP, what is a bill for MSP, why you have to guarantee, what are the problems of MSP, etc. So I try to go through that once. Apart from that, Kumaraswamy turned down Modi's offer, not very important political aspect. more of Maradona's item surface, not very important, just for a general knowledge purpose. You can read this value of self-discipline. Some things you will understand, which you can write in your uh, ethics answer. That's all from this page. In this page, from international perspective, there are some important articles. So G7 calls on Russia to de-escalate war, warns against Ukraine incursion. So the present thing that is going on between Ukraine, Russia, and role of EU. So important article. You go understand what is happening on Ukrainian borders, what happened. You understand the history of Crimea and how Russia took over Crimea, and then taking over of Crimea has actually turned G8 into G7. So understand the history of these things. Article is about the visit of Israel Prime Minister to UAE. So Israel is trying to improve its relations with Arab nations. In that context, the what is the role of Iran, or why Israel is trying to improve its relations with Arab nations? So understand the uh, issue between Israel, Arab nations, which are mostly Sunni, and then you have Iran, which is Shia dominated. So Israel and Iran has a rivalry, and Iran has these countries have a rivalry. So enemy's enemy is a friend. So using that principle, Israel is trying to befriend Arab nations, or Arab nations are trying to befriend Israel on the principle of enemy's enemy is a friend. So in that context, as understand the issue of Iran deal here we are there was a discussion that is going on Iran deal. So in that context, understand these things. Then moving on to the next article, Tigray rebels retake Labila in Ethiopia. Important from prelims perspective. So just go through this. New Caledonia votes to remain part of France. So try to locate where is New Caledonia. Go through a map pointing of New Caledonia. Then this article, opposition MPs discuss 13th Amendment. Try to understand what is 13th Amendment. What is India's role in framing 13th Amendment? Why is India asking Sri Lanka to implement 13th Amendment to its fullest potential? This 13th Amendment was an output of Indo-Sri Lanka Accord of 1987. So understand these things, important from international relations and important from India-Sri Lanka relations. That's all from this page. In this page, this article is important. Feudal cloud kingdom. So understand what is cloud, cloud computing, what is software as service. These things are important. Don't think they are unrelated to UPSC. UPSC has asked these kind of questions in mains, and also we can expect these kind of questions in essay. So understand what is feudalism from this cloud relation, because a few companies like Amazon, Alibaba, Google, Microsoft, etc. These are dominating cloud ecosystem, and outage of Amazon has recently created problems for the other services. So, what are the dangers of domination of a single technological firm in these areas, and how to decentralize it? So, these are discussed in this article. Important. Thank you. That's all from today's paper.